These days, it seems many apparent spiritual teachers are echoing the concept of non-doership, that there is just the whole, what is, with no doer, because there is no one, no separate entities. This, of course, is not a new revelation. Adi Shankara made it clear in his crest jewel of discrimination that there was never a separate self. The Isha Upanishad from the Yajurveda reminds, even after a separate world or separate beings appear to emerge from fullness, all that's left is fullness. Buddha made it quite clear. There are thoughts, but no thinker. Hearing happens, but there is no hearer. Actions happen, but there is no actor. All just what's happening to no one, and from no one, no actor or doer. The listener hears this, contemplates it, and many seem to get it intellectually. Oh, yes, of course. There's only what's happening, mere phenomena rising and falling, for no reason or purpose. And I am just one more of those rising and falling phenomena, not the doer or agent of anything. But then this supposed non-doer goes back to work and, wanting better pay or the boss's approval, tries to do a better job. If there is relational conflict in their family, they find themselves trying to do being a better spouse or parent. And if they are suffering in this life, they think maybe they should do a spiritual path or do it better, more regularity, more meditation, more surrender to God. If they are then reminded about how they got that there is no doer, they default to, yeah, I get that, but then what do I do to have a better life experience or to have an enlightened life of permanent peace and joy? The intellectual clarity of there being no doer just becomes another glimpse or mentally generated realization for them. And they cannot figure out how to apply it in their lives. And that's exactly as it is, because the illusory I is just the dream character, living in its own virtual reality of separateness. And the dream character can't feel separate from everyone and everything else, subject, object, and not feel compelled to do something. Have you noticed that stillness feels antithetical to the dreamer of separateness? Because as dream characters, certain that we are separate from everyone else and the world, each with our own life, we are compelled to act. First and foremost, for our own survival. If we don't do, we don't eat, grow, and survive. But then also, as a dreamer in the illusion of time, with our own birth, death, and life in between, the question would naturally arise, well then, why was I born? Certainly not to spend 50 or 75 or 100 years just being still, just sitting in a cave or in a lotus position or on a couch, doing nothing. So even beyond survival, There must be something I'm supposed to be doing. Or why be here? Why else should I get out of bed in the morning? Add in the feeling of shame and worthlessness. All judgmental dreamers level on themselves if they're feeling like they're being lazy or not making some useful contribution to the world, to society. And the compulsion to do and believe we are the doer, the author, the controller, seems overwhelming. We repeatedly forget that we are simply being, dreaming a dream we call the world, the dream of separateness. And so this illusory me cannot possibly have any control any more than the dream you in your night dreams can control what happens in that dream. But the main reason the dream character cannot apply or remain in non-doership is because they are misunderstanding what non-doer really means. Doership has nothing to do with physically or mentally planning, contributing, moving, working, earning, eating, or practicing their spiritual path. All of those are simply the body-mind appearing to act. Non-doership is simply the realization that you are not the agent, the doer, even as all that activity goes on. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna admonished Arjuna to learn the inaction in action and the action in inaction. As dream character is being dreamed by being, we cannot avoid some kind of apparent life and activity, growing, learning, working, even fighting our kin on the battlefield. So only if the dream identity collapses and something which cannot be described recognizes this as just dream activity, just what appears to be happening to no one, can true non-doership be embodied by no one. Until then, I am not the doer, there is no doer, will just be nice spiritual platitudes. You cannot do non-doer simply by copying an attitude of, okay, when I go out today as the apparent doer of all this stuff, I'm going to drop in and feel like I'm still, like there's nothing happening and no doer. You can do that kind of attitudinal shift all day, trying to put yourself in a non-doership frame of mind, but it won't stick. And here's where most spiritual teachers will say, that's why meditation is so important. If you sit long enough for enough meditation, over enough years, you will eventually reach the still point, where the self, the illusory separate self, seems to drop away. And there is no one, no doer, just what's happening, arising and falling. However, for most, this too is rarely reached and never sustains because they approached meditation as something they must do to get somewhere, to attain this stillness. Instead of just, this is just the dream, and stillness is already the underlying ever-present principle and foundation. Instead, the sense of I am the doer is still present from the start and throughout. Some dream meditators appear to find this pure stillness happening to no one, intermittently, but it almost never sustains because afterwards the doer mind immediately claims this state, this experience for its own, as if the dreamer got somewhere, made something happen, cause and effect, and can cause it again if it just follows the same procedures. You can always hear it in the voice of the doer seeker. Yes, I meditated and fell into that stillness. Or, yes, through my own efforts, I caused my kundalini to rise, and I'm now claiming a full awakening for this practitioner, this doer. The good news is, it doesn't matter. If we are merely the dream characters in being's dream, not the illusory doer, it couldn't possibly matter if a full dropping away of the doer ever appears to happen or not. It's just what is. It's all just what's happening. It's all perfect and already whole and complete, including dream doers and empty non-doers alike. So when you hear, there is no doer, no thinker, no actor, just what is, phenomena rising and falling impersonally. If you get it, totally get that, and agree with it, great. But as the dream character, don't try to do anything with that or apply it somehow. The dream character's function is simply to dream in separateness. Here, Sri Nisargadatta would say, don't you see? Trying to escape from the dream of being the doer is just one more doing. It's just all part of the dream. Just realize that you are dreaming a dream you call the world and stop looking for ways out. When you have seen the dream as a dream, you have done all that needs to be done. Of course, you can't do that either. Thanks for listening. We'll talk again soon.